everyone, it's Judy. Welcome back to Rose Lane. Okay, before I start, I want to say again thank you to all of the subscribers, all the people who've been leaving comments on the Facebook groups for me, all of the people who have been subscribing and leaving comments for me on my YouTube channel. And there are a few who are very faithful to me, so I want to just acknowledge them today. I want to acknowledge Liz. I want to acknowledge Stephanie. I want to acknowledge Donna. And I want to acknowledge Beverly. Those are just a few of the ones who come often and leave very positive and encouraging comments to me. So I just wanted to say thank you to all of them for coming by and being so faithful on my channel. Okay, hopefully this is not going to take too long. I know I say that all the time, and I'm not very good at doing that. I have most of this ready to go. I did one, and I'm going to be doing another one. And I do have most of it ready to go. And actually, I'm going to be taking these tags out of here and putting them in the other piece as, you know, after we're done doing it. Because I'll have, one of them is going in the journal I'm doing, the Olivia journal. So I'm not sure which paper I'm going to like better. So we're going to have to wait and see what we're going to do there. Okay, so let me find, I know I have it up here somewhere. Here it is. I'm going to have to cut this one out because I haven't done that yet. And I have something else that I have to cut out. But I wanted to show you what we're doing. And some of it has to be done kind of at the, after we do it, to see how much space we have. And you'll understand that when we get there. So this is what I did. I'm going to put this to the side. I'm going to show you what we have here. I don't know how well you can see that this is a heart, okay? But I have some secret places here on this as well. Let me try to get this charm spun around. I have a couple of secret places in here as well, actually a few that you don't notice right off the bat. So it is a heart. It's got three different colors on it, three different papers on it. And, well, let me just show you. So there's three pockets on here. I'm going to start with the front. This is the pocket here. And we have a few tags or journaling cards. Some are small. So that's the first pocket right here behind these flowers, okay? Second pocket is behind the heart itself. So you can see that. And these are the tags that I have in there. So here's the second pocket. This is a doily underneath, which I glued onto matching paper. And I just have to cut this out real quick, okay? And that's going to create the other pocket that is for this tag back here. So there's three pockets. There's 1, 2, 3, okay? And you probably just saw one of my secret places. This little lace edge with the dangle on it, with the little charm on it, is a little secret spot as well. And so we have this little piece in here that you can write on. And I actually, to reinforce, folded this over on the back. However, it is also a little tuck spot if you wanted to put something else tiny in there. I don't know what could actually go in, maybe like something like that or something, but it wouldn't fit. It would have to be like something really small. Doesn't really matter, just something else that I had put in there. So, and then that just folds back up, tucks under there, and goes back in here under the flowers. However, the flowers are sharing, I mean the little tuck piece here, if I'm getting hooked on the bottom of the heart here, does share these flowers with the tags that go in here. So if you put them in, you'll see that you can push that down. So it's just a matter of holding it, and then you can kind of put your tags back in place and it's fine. So you've probably figured out by now that this lifts up, okay? So you have all that space for journaling there as well. And then right down here underneath the doily, we created another pocket. Now, I have fat fingers, so I'm going to take it out with tweezers. It's easy enough to get out, but like I said, my fingers are kind of fat. So we have another little secret pocket underneath there with another piece of just folded. I'm finding that my more secret places, I'm putting just these plain pieces of paper in for little notes. So then all you have to do is lift that up, and it does have its own pocket, as does this, and that's where we have to do a little playing because I have it glued to a certain spot where it won't go any further. Of course, I didn't measure that, so it's going to have to be a by eye kind of thing. And then this piece can go back up inside, and you just sort of push it up until it goes underneath the ends of the doily and you don't see it anymore. Which, like I said, for the most part you can grab it, but for the sake of not, you know, destroying it, I'm just using the tweezers to go ahead and pull that out. So that being the case, that goes back up in there, and that's what it looks like. So I'm just going to bring this on up, and I'm going to show you a little bit. We've got the background page, we've got the doily, which is glued to the same kind of paper, and then we have the heart with polka dots, a floral, and then down here, if I move this, you'd be able to see it a little bit better. There's some stripes down on the bottom, which you can leave. You don't have to do this part if you didn't want to and cover up the stripes at all. So that's what we have right there. And that tucks in and kind of just looks like it's at the bottom of the flowers. So we're going to try to put this together with this. And what I did, I don't have a template, and I know you can get heart die cuts, the graduating sizes. I don't have them. So what I did was I just went online. I typed in heart images templates. I found one that I liked, and then I just sort of squeezed it and elongated it so it would fit better on the page. And then I made one smaller. So this is the polka dot. This one is the floral. And then I just cut the bottom off of one, and that's the stripe. Okay? And that's all I did with that. So we are going to find the one. Let me find the paper. It's here. I know it is. Give me a second. Where did it go? Oh, here it is. Okay. So this is what I did with this. Okay. This was tea-dyed paper, which I just inked, and I glued it onto the polka dot paper. And what these are just 2 strips of paper, because when you cut it out on the fold, which is what you're supposed to do, okay, it says cut 2 on the fold, you're going to put this right up to the edge of the paper as if it was folded, so that when you cut it, it leaves just a little space that isn't cut, okay, a little space on the fold so that you can actually flip it like this, okay. However, I felt that that wasn't quite strong enough, so I took 2 little strips of tea-dyed paper and I just glued them over the fold just to reinforce it, to give it a little bit extra strength, okay. I glue one side down, and what we're going to do now is we're going to cut this out, and I will try to do it as quickly as possible. Hopefully it won't be too bad. Like I said, my cutting's a little slower these days, and I can see that I'm not cutting where I need to cut already because I have to do it from the bottom. So let's hope I don't mangle up the heart too much, because I do want to go quickly, but I don't want to, you know, for the sake of time on the video, and you not having to sit here watching me cut, I just figured it was easier to show you what I did rather than to try to tell you what I did. So basically this is what I did with all of them. I just took the piece, because like I said, I work with copy paper most of the time and not cardstock. Now if you did this on cardstock, you wouldn't have to do this twice. I do it twice and just glue it together. You would just, you know, take polka dot cardstock and do it on there, and that would be fine, or whatever, you know, whatever pattern cardstock you think you would want. I could tell I'm going into this heart a little bit, but that's okay. It's possibly a hair. Okay, and up to this point, and then I'm going to close this, and I'm just going to go right across like so, and then we can trim the rest. Let me get this out of the way, which is hard to do when your fingers are wrapped around scissors. I'm going to try to go ahead and do it from in here. I may have to go back in and trim a little bit because I'm not, you know, I'm doing it from with both hearts on top of each other. So we have that, and then we have this little piece. Just try to get that off from where I started, and let's see how I did. Ah, that looks fine. Okay, so I am going to take the ink, even though I've inked. What I do with my ink? I'm burying everything today. This is bad. Okay, here it is. I've already inked this part, but of course you're going to want to ink around these edges as well. So let's go ahead and do that, just so that and this little mark here is the mark where I do the glue. So the glue is going to go this way and this way. So that leaves the top open for the tags to go in. So that's what those little pencil marks are for. It's not that I didn't erase them because I didn't have to, because this was going down, you know, onto the paper, being glued down onto the paper, but that's my glue marks. Okay, do the other side. Not too much, just a little bit. And then we're just going to glue the other pieces on top of this. Okay, that's good. And I think, yes, I inked all of those already. I'm going to move this back over this way. All right, and we're going to take this and we're going to glue this piece on top of this piece, and that just goes flat down. Okay, I actually think I started to glue it onto another piece of paper or something. I forget. I did something because I've got like a spot here that was a point of a heart, so I'm not sure what I had done because I had cut these a few days ago, and honestly, I just can't remember. Just can't remember. So we have that one. So we're going to try to, and I don't even mind it being up a little bit more towards the top so you can see a little bit more of it. But you want to try to get the point going to the point and the point going to the point, as it were. Just press that down. That's more for decoration than anything. Okay. So that's that. Then I have this one, and this may have to be trimmed a little bit. And there's a little sliver right here that I didn't cut, and I'm not worried about it because it's going to be covered. And then this is just going to go right down on here. And I think when I cut this, I cut it. You can see that it's a little wide. Probably you can see. And that's okay. And I'm going to do that with this one, I think. No, I'm going to do it with this one. And then I'll just go back and trim that off. I think I may have cut, because I did these hearts a couple of times to try to get the sizes, you know, where I wanted it. Now I'm doing this as if something really goes far down into this pocket. Obviously it doesn't, but that's okay. So I think I might have taken this particular one from the wider piece. I'm just going to open this up so I can be sure I'm putting it where I want it on here. And then we're just going to go back and we're going to trim down where this hangs over. I'm going to get off some of that glue first. So I think that's probably what had happened. I had played with it a couple of times to get the size I wanted, and I think I just picked up the wrong paper on the pattern when I cut it out, and I just had the bigger size. I felt it needed to be slimmed down a little bit to fit a little bit better proportionately on the page. So now, that being said, I'm doing this on a digital page, which you remember that my printers print both with a border. I can't not print borderless on these particular printers. So when I'm doing it on a digital page, the pages are not as wide and oftentimes not as high. So that's what you have. So again, that's a pocket here, and then there'll be a pocket behind the doily, and then this pocket that's down in here. And mostly it doesn't go down that far. So the other thing, if I can find what I've done with it, this is a cutout already inked and everything, and that's going to go on here. And I just want to make sure, yeah, that's going to go on here like this. Okay, and it can go up even higher if you want it to show a little bit more than this. It just depends on what your cutout is, and you want to make sure that you cover where the stripe ends. Okay, you're just going to glue this on the edges, on the outside. So we're going to try to do that by, I want to make sure that it's covered and covered. Okay, and I think probably the easiest way to do this, instead of using that one, is to use the art glitter glue and just go, or try to go, if I can get it to come out, right along the edge. Try to go under that leaf a little bit. Okay, my little baby wipe here. And I just want to make sure I give that a minute. Well, maybe not a minute, but you know, a second. And then I'm going to do this one. Now what I do want to do though, because I want to try to make sure that I keep a little bit of space in here. That's probably a little bit more than I need. And I'm going to glue this here. Now the polka dots do show some, but that's all right. Just do a little bit more up there and there. Okay, my wipe. Let's press that down. Okay, and that just gave me that little bit of space in here so that it'll take the tags without really forcing them in and out. Okay, so we have that. So that's our piece this far. Now what we can do is we can do our butterfly, and what I did was I did it on a piece of scrap, which I'll just cut one off here, and then I cut away whatever was excess so that I had and these are little, I don't know if you could see, but they look like little hearts on the lace. I don't know if you can see that. They look like little hearts, which is why I chose this one. And we're gonna just put that so that it's gonna go here. Okay, so I'm just gonna glue this onto here like this. Just give it some stability. And then this will get glued to the end of the little piece of paper that you're gonna put into right on. And I hope I'm not like completely out of frame here. And I want to make sure that I go over the edges a little bit. Give that a second. We'll see. All right, I'm going to glue this all the way to the end, and then, well, not quite to the end. And then we'll see what we get here. I'm just going to let that sit there for a minute and dry as best as possible, because we're going to play with this a little bit. And then my butterfly is on not cardstock, but on another piece of the heavier copy paper, so that it has a little bit more stability, because it's going to sit either here or here depending on how we want to do it. And that'll be that. And we want it to go up and over the flowers, because that helps to kind of hide the fact that it's meant to come out. So a little bit of camouflage. I'm just cleaning off the tip of my glue. Let me put my little pin back in this one. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get another little scrap somewhere. Now this one I wanted to use for the bottom. So let me see if I can find another scrap I can use in my scrap pile. hear me scrounging through it. I've been through it a lot lately, using up some scraps. Let's see. What are you? Well, you're folded, but that's okay. I think we can get away with this one. And this is where we have to decide. There's no set size. I just need to see how far I can get something up in there, and then I cut the piece to fit, if that makes sense. So we are going to do that. And I'm going to cut this one away right along the edge here, because this is going to get glued essentially to the bottom of the, I can cut a little bit more, to the bottom of the strip that we're going to put in. Just cut a little bit more, so yeah, good. Okay, get rid of that, get rid of that. Okay, so I am thinking probably want to go to about here, so let me get my other scissors and we'll cut this a little on an angle. Again, I hear my husband walking. All right, so let's go ahead. We want a piece this wide, and this is folded, so let me do it from the other side. So we want a piece about that wide. I'm just going to mark it with my pencil. About there. I'm going to get my little cutter, and we'll go ahead and cut on that line. Okay. It's definitely not going to be this long. So we're going to glue this to the bottom like that. And first thing we're going to do is do some inking down here. Just tore that. That's all right. Do a little inking at the bottom where we're going to glue the lace part on. Okay, put that there. Let's get the lace glued on here, which, since there's paper, it's paper to paper. We'll go ahead and use the art glitter glue. Okay. We'll glue that on there. Now, I did this a couple of days ago, the original one, and like I said, I just kind of worked it out as I went. So not really remembering all exactly of what I've done. What I want to try to do, I think, because it's probably going to be pretty similar, is I'm going to take this piece, and I didn't fold that over. I'm going to take this piece and just sort of measure it out. So we'll start with this one. You can already see that this other paper is a little wider. So let me get my, oh, look at that, right short of the fold. How about that for being fortuitous? All right, put my little guy out here again, only because, yeah, like that's gonna help. Only because it's a little quicker. All right, put that in there. Let's make sure we're straight, more or less. Back in my pile. Okay. And then we're going to have to try to see about, I didn't get this glued down very well. I guess I got to go back and glue this some more. All right. Because I think what happened was I had peeled this up because I did it wrong. And then I thought there was going to be enough glue left on it, but apparently there was not. As it dried, it showed that there was not enough. I forget what I had done. I can't remember exactly why I had to peel it up, but I had to peel it up for some reason. Is this one doing the same thing on this side? Yes. Not as much, but it is doing the same thing. I'm pulling a little bit more just to make sure that I get everything glued down. So that will do. Now the bottom didn't come up before, so I'm assuming that's okay. But I'll go back and check everything anyway. All right, so let's go ahead. See where we want to start folding this now. I folded from the top down and in, right? So let's see what we get. We're going to fold this in half to about there. And then we'll fold this way to the half line. Then it's a half line and then again. Okay. That made sense to you? What I did was I took the paper, I folded it down to where it met the top of the lace, or just short of the top of the lace. Using that middle fold line as my guide, I took the top and folded to the fold line, and then I folded that in half and that in half, so it comes down to meet the top of the lace, if that makes sense. That's how I got it to fold. Now let's hope it fits, because if it doesn't, then we have to start cutting from the top. So I'm just going to go around and ink the rest of this and get that finished, and ink the other side. And I'm going to have to start changing this. This is my brushed corduroy dauber, and it's seeing better days as well. So I'm going to have to make sure that I'm just checking to make sure we're still in front, or still on, you know, still filming. Okay, and again, I don't do the creases. You can if you like, but I don't happen to do that. So then this piece is now going to tuck up under here. Now, I may find that this is too tight. I just pop that up over here a little bit to get the piece in as I want it. So I think that'll be okay. That just slid right in there, okay? Now, where do I want the butterfly? Do I want it here? Do I want it here? I think I want it here only because this leaf is kind of in the way. So I think I'm going to put the butterfly here. So it's just going to get glued where my finger is, right down in here, just to make sure that it holds on the bottom and gives me, I'm doing a mirror thing here again, so it's more on this side. I want to make sure that it works sort of almost like a inverted tab, I guess. It works like a stopper. Okay, so we want to do that. And I just want to make sure that it doesn't get glued to the flower, you know, to this part here. So I need to hold it there for a few seconds because it's got to go through the lace, hopefully, without going through to the, let me pull it from this side. All right, and let that go ahead and set. And when that's done, we can put the little bauble on that I did, the little dangle, which is just a bulb pin. And I have, let me see if I can show you. Bring it up here. There's some pink seed beads on there. I don't know, can you see those? 3 on either side. And then I have the heart there. So that'll go on the one side over here away from the butterfly. So essentially we have that. So while this is all setting, let me put this one back over here so that I don't lose it. We'll put that back in the original one right there. And while that's setting, I'm going to cover my glue and this one. And then I have to find the doily, which is here. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut this out relatively quickly. And these doilies, I ran out of some tea-dyed doilies. So, and since I'm in the basement and I have to go upstairs and, you know, make the tea and then bring it back down here because I have a table over near my laundry room that I can use, or the laundry room, the side of the basement where the laundry is. I have a table that's over there, and I use that to do all my paper dyeing on. So I was in a pinch. I had a plastic, we all do. We upcycle, recycle. I had a plastic tray from some meat, not the styrofoam ones, but a plastic one, that I you know, washed very thoroughly, cleaned it up very, very well. And I used that as either that or a measuring cup. I think it's a 2-cup measuring cup that I have, you know, for liquid. So it's like a little pitcher. And usually I'll make the tea in that, but I have my utility sink over there by the washer and dryer. So I can just get hot water out of the faucet right there, and I have this meat tray, and I have my pastry brush, and I just fill the meat tray up. And what I did this time was used ink, some of the re-inkers. I used my brushed corduroy, and I put, I think, just 2 droppers full into the hot water, and I used that to dye these doilies. So that's where that came from. Get rid of those and just cut down this side. And then if anything looks not curved enough, like this little point, we're going to go back and just kind of round him out. And let's round this one out because it looks a little uneven. It's a little bit better. And we'll get this side. Okay. So like I said, I just glued these down onto the matching paper because I wanted it to look like it was glued onto the paper. Then I decided I was going to leave the top open and make it a pocket. And then I thought, well, if I leave the top open and make it a pocket, why don't I make a pocket on the bottom and make it hidden? So that is what I did. So the bright ideas that come as you're going along. So when I say I made it up as I went, I really made it up as I went. Because it didn't quite come out the way I had intended. Okay. Every now and then I get this kind of yellow bubble that goes across my eye and then kind of breaks apart and dissipates. And sometimes it usually happens when I move, like when I get up out of a chair or something like that. It'll come, and it starts in the lower part of my eye and goes up and across. But as it goes up and across, it breaks into 2 pieces, and then it just goes away. But it's a pretty significant little distraction for me sometimes. But for some reason, I'm just sitting here cutting, and for some reason, it just came on its own. So it makes it a little difficult for me to kind of see what I'm doing. But anyway, okay, I think that's okay. I'm gonna get the ink here, and we'll ink this up, get these edges done, get the glue off my fingers if I can. Oh, come on, there we go. And try to get this inked up a little bit. Only the one side because it's going down onto the paper, so we don't have to worry about the other side. Okay. So that will be good. I'll tell you, I'll be happy when the snow stops and the spring rains stop, because my backyard is literally a swamp. I'm watching my dog, who's 90 pounds, walking through my yard, and literally his feet sink into the ground. There's so much mud out there. And it doesn't make me happy, because then we got to stop him at the door and wipe his feet off. So, okay. So we're going to glue this down now. So what we're going to do, before we completely glue it down, now this page is obviously a little bit different than the other one. I had cut it equal to that one, but that's all right. I'm not worried about it. Let's see where the doily came up here a little bit. So let me glue that down. You go there, you go there. Very good. But that's okay. I'm not worried about that at all. Matter of fact, I think I'll put it a little closer to the center, and if I decide to, I can trim the paper, or I can put lace along the edge, but I'll put it a little closer to the center of the piece. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, we know that we're going to glue down the sides here, okay? But we need to put the little pocket in on the bottom. So when I cut the pocket for the other one, I cut the pocket for this, and this doesn't really have to be inked, but what I did do was I took it, and I don't want to do it on the back of that. Let me find something I've been using to ink on. Here we go. And I just inked the edge of the pocket, just in case you happen to look up inside, that you might see that it doesn't look bright white. That's all I did. So just did that a little bit so it doesn't show so much. That's all. Okay, so what we're gonna do, let me get rid of that, is we're gonna flip this over, make sure the ink side is down near the end, and we're gonna just put that right in between, if you can see this. I think you could probably see it better on this paper than you can on my board. We're just gonna put it right in between the, make sure that we're straight, in between these things so that it doesn't, I can't make it slide, so that it doesn't show. Okay, that's all we're gonna do, right like that. So we're just gonna glue those 3 sides down and leave the bottom open. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. If I can get my glue to come out. I know you're in there. Doesn't want to come. All right, let's get one of those pins. I think after a while, these little nozzles still get kind of clogged to the point where it's probably just time to get them to change, because I used to be able to go much longer without having to clean out the nozzle, and now it seems like I'm doing it all the time, even when I, you know, put the little cover on it. Okay. Okay. And up this side. And again, a lot of this is going to depend what fits in here is, you know, where the glue ends up, how smashed down it got, and all that jazz. But I'm going to try to get it as central as possible and as close to the edge of the doily as possible. We're just going to press that down, let that sit for a second. Again, a little bit of a, let me show you what I mean, just a little bit of a bubble or, you know, piece in here. I just sort of push it in a little bit. Push this flat, but I push the sides in to create a little bit of an area, just easier to get things in and out. That's to me. Okay, so we have that now. So now the question is, and I did do a piece of paper for this, we'll see if this fits. Now this one is gonna, it seems it's gonna be too wide, okay? So all I'm gonna do, let's make sure it may be a little too long, okay? And I've already folded this, so I'm not gonna worry about trying to do it again. It may be just a little too long, judging where the stuff, but it's definitely too wide. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna trim this down a little from the side. I'm gonna go from the top because I have a flap there. We'll do a little inking. Before we ink, let's make sure it'll actually fit. And we'll see how far up it will actually go. Actually, I think it's pretty good. It's probably pretty good. It does show a little from the bottom. I don't really want to refold it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to cut a new piece, and I'm going to cut off this end because it makes it, I think, harder to get in and out. So we're just going to mark this with a pencil. Okay, and I'm just going to cut it a wee bit shorter. Must have done this out of another one. Just about, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch or so. Just a wee bit shorter than the other one. And we'll see. All right, I'm going to have to cut this first because I marked it on the same side. All right, let go. Okay. Go ahead with that one and then put this one in. And go ahead and cut that down. I think my husband may either be on the phone or my brother-in-law is with him and they're watching some sort of sport, I'm sure. He was in his glory yesterday because he got himself 2 new sports channels that he wanted, but basically had to get 65 other channels to get the 2 sports channels. I will never understand this. I remember when cable TV first came out, I think it was $16 a month. It was HBO and maybe a couple of other little, you know, simple cable stations at the time. I don't really remember. It's a long time ago. Heading for 50 years. Hard to believe cable's been around that long. But the big deal of cable TV was, yes, you paid a monthly fee for it, which at the time was not cheap, you know, $16 in, you know, what was that, the 70s? Was, you know, something. It was a substantial piece of money to do something like that. But the big selling point was you had no commercials. You know, there were no sponsors looking to make money off of the commercials. So somebody had to pay the cable company, so you had to. So, okay, no problem. What do we have now? Essentially every cable station, we must have thousands. I can't even imagine how many numbers are on that thing when you scroll. All the different network things, Apple and Spectrum and I don't know, all of what they are. I don't even know. And, you know, you have all this stuff. You pay hundreds of dollars for it. And virtually every network, if you want to call it that, every cable network, whatever it is, for the most part, I think has commercials. It has commercials. Some of them even have infomercials. You actually pay for a station full of commercials. I don't understand what has happened. I really don't understand. Oh, my goodness. I don't know. Okay, so I made this one a little shorter, and I made it narrow to match this, but a little bit shorter. Okay, so hopefully this will be good enough. So we're going to go ahead and do this again. We're going to, well, I don't know. We have to do that. Let me just do it this way. We'll put this up in here, long, you know, just the whole piece until I feel it get some resistance, till it stops. It's there. And then I'm just going to fold it right along the edge of the pocket. Okay? Which wasn't straight, but that's all right. And we'll just go back and kind of make it straight, and then we'll fold this one down over there like so. And now this should fit in the pocket without hanging over. Let's hope I did this correctly, but it should. It should go all the way in like that and really not hang over the edge. Nope, can't see it. So we're good. So we're gonna, actually I'll just leave it in here. And we're gonna just glue now these sides, and we can glue up to the edge of this pocket. If you can see there, we can glue from here all the way up to here. All right, and that's what we're gonna do, and we're gonna do it with my 3-in-1 so that I have a minute to position it. I'm just going to go right to the edge of that and right to the edge of there. Okay. Now the card I made, like I said, I have the cards in the other one, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it closer to here. I'm going to bring it down this way a little bit, closer to the middle fold, because I'll either cut the paper down like this, or I'll add a lace edge, possibly, maybe on this side. So that is what I will do, and it gives me room for, you know, sewing down the middle. So that's what we have. And then we're going to just go ahead and glue this on. Let me see my time. We're still going, and my time is not bad. And we're going to go ahead and glue this. Again, I'm going to use the 3-in-1. I do go off the edge sometimes. So, okay, that's not too bad. Again, for the most part, these tags don't go all the way down because of the shape of the pocket. It just doesn't do it. So we're going to go ahead and put that there. Leave a little bit of that doily showing. Hopefully this is straight. I'm going to just hold it up for me to see a little bit because I have to look at it a little differently than what you normally would do so that I can see correctly. I'm going to lift this up and make sure because I know I'm gluing it. There we go. And I want to make sure that that doesn't make it stick, because if the glue oozes out, it's getting under here, and I don't want this, of course, to stick. So we have that. And you can on here, which I forgot to do, I'll go back and do it later, just ink that up so it's not so white. But I'll go back and do that later. I'm not going to do it now. So we have that. So now let's take our little bowl pin, and we're going to go ahead, and the other one I did glue down. Just go ahead and put that right through there. I glued it down so it would stop flopping because it kept turning the wrong way, and the heart kept going backwards. So I did glue it down, which I'm probably going to just put a little glue here and do the same thing. Now that's not going to, it's not going to hold right now, but this little piece goes right under there like a little tuck, okay, right under there, and then that's going to go right up in here, okay. Let me get my heart is spinning. Well, now that sounded funny. All right, and that's going to go right up in there like so. And then we have the little dangle hanging down, and then we're going to go ahead and put our cards back in. So we have, oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't do it. Let me lift this up carefully. I'm probably going to peel up a lot of stuff. The one thing I didn't do was glue the, you know what? I think I'll leave it alone because I think it'll be okay. It's still sticking actually. I had glued the glued across the top of the pocket back here, the pocket underneath, to make that stop, but I think that'll be okay. I can always go back and fix that somehow. I don't know how, but I can. And then these are going to go in here, which I think I had like so, and this one here like that, and this one was in here like this. Okay, and then these were down in here like this, more or less, and that little rose one right there. So that is the piece complete. So that's what we have. So that's the heart with all the little tickets in it, and then you can open this heart to write in there. You've got all the tags to write on the back. And then down here, and again, I'm going to do this with my tweezers. I'm going to go ahead and find the little paper and pull that out, which I don't need tweezers for the whole thing, but that just tucks up inside, and you have that piece as well. So that is it for this piece. Yeah, see? Right now, it's trying to come back up. So I think what I will do is I will go ahead and take care of this while I've got you here, just for the sake of getting this up. I want to try to get this. It is stuck back down again. If I didn't want it to stick, right? I just want to try to get this up if I can. And the best thing I have found to do this is a bone folder. I don't know why it works so well, but it does. So this is what I'm going to do, and I don't know if you can see, but I'm going to take the glue, which I'll do with the, I'm just going to fix this right now. I'm going to take the, excuse me, the art glitter glue, and it doesn't have to go all the way across, and I'm just going to use the top of this as a guide. I'm going to put that back down, get rid of my tweezers. I'm going to glue the sides back down, which I can do from here. That is not a problem. Glue that back down. And I'm using the art glitter glue this time because it should dry quicker to, I'm going to actually lift this up and press here. It should dry quicker so I can put the tag in without worrying about it getting stuck. So that's that. And the paper goes back in here. So let's get that back up inside. That's not affected by what I just did because it was on the outside of the pocket, and this is going to the inside of the pocket. So that goes back up in here, if I can get it to go in. It went in before, there it is. That goes back down this way with our little dangle, and then our card goes in here, and now it will only go just so far, which is seemingly too high. What a mess I made out of this, guys. Now the art glitter glue was not as forgiving. So let me see. I may have to end up doing this again, but you get the general idea. Don't forget to glue the back of the pocket. Hey, that came up surprisingly well. I'm going to glue it lower. Let me do this. I'm going to eye it up. I don't think you can see what I'm doing because I've got this in the shade. But I'm just measuring the where I want the card to go. This is how you fix the mistakes, guys. I'm just going where I want the card to go, and I'm gluing there, and then I'm just going to glue on this part here. Go ahead and glue this back down right to there, and that gets you out of there. I'll clean that up in a minute, and then it's fixed. And this part, I can just take that right out. The mushy paper there. There we go. Beauty. Okay. So now, I'm going to just take this out because I know I don't want to get it glued. Yet another way of fixing mistakes. The trick there is don't forget to put the bit of glue across the back of the pocket and measure first so that you're sure you have it right. Oh my goodness. All right, so there we go. We're not stuck there anymore. We got the paper under here, that's fine. And then this tag goes in here down to where we want it to go, right there. So that's it. We are done with this one for now, guys. In spite of all the going back and trying to fix it, but it was fixable. I hope you enjoyed the video. So in the meantime, be blessed, be happy, be safe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.